Brothers and sisters, listen carefully. Your soul is infinitely precious, anchored not in circumstances, but in the unshakable sovereignty of truth. You must understand that the storms that buffet you, failures, losses, betrayals, disappointments, are not the masters of your spirit. Instead, every trial that wages war upon your heart is an opportunity to sit at the feet of unyielding providence and say, "You will not wound me, I will not bend." Let me speak plainly. All around us, soft whispers of despair and defeat echo in hearts tempted to shrink back, to fold under pressure. Life is overwhelming, they say. I'm crushed beneath its weight. My feelings overpower me. My failures define me. But these voices must be confronted with a sober resoluteness. You are not made to be a victim of your emotions. You are created to rise above them. You are fashioned with a purpose greater than momentary pain, or even your own limitations. Understand this. There is a war. It rages inside. On one side, pride wants to ruin you. Lies want to distract you. Fear wants to imprison you. On the other side stands the resolute conviction of truth. Absolute, unchanging, incorruptible. And guess what? Truth is your weapon. It is sharper than any blade, surer than any shield. When the thunder of doubt roars in your ears, you are nothing. You must counter, I am who I am because I am known by truth. My identity is not a reflection of my failures. My value is not dictated by circumstance. But how do you cultivate unshakableness when you feel like the ground beneath your feet has turned to sand? When guilt assaults your conscience or sin shames you? When relationships crumble or your health falters or dreams die? You anchor your soul in something eternal. You remember that your value is measured in something far greater than human applause. You remember that your hope is not grounded in what men think, but in what God has declared. You remember that a wounded spirit anchored in truth will never perish. You cannot allow your soul to be tossed and torn by every breeze of culture. When the world screams, you are defined by performance, by looks, by popularity. Your voice must remain steady. I am defined by purpose, not popularity. Many may mock, but many stand unseen. My reward is reserved. You must look with disdain at the shifting sands of public opinion and fix your gaze upon a rock that does not move. And what do you find there? You find the anchor of humility. Pride says, "Look at me, how great I am." But humility says, "I am less than dust. I owe everything." But in that humility lies freedom, freedom from the tyrant of self-worship, freedom from comparison, freedom from the fear of man. Suppose tomorrow you lose your job. Suppose tomorrow your reputation is blasted. Suppose tomorrow your dreams collapse. If you stand firmly on humility, your heart will whisper, I still stand because I stand on purpose, not titles. I stand on truth, not trembling applause. And let's be honest, humility does not mean passivity. On the contrary, humility demands spiritual muscle. It demands daily death to self. It demands you fight. When temptation knocks, you do not grovel in guilt, nor cower in fear. You resist. You choose obedience. You choose truth. You say with biblical force, my flesh is weak, but my spirit will not bow. Let me speak to weariness. If you've carried burdens too heavy, burdens no mortal was meant to bear, you must hear this. Your heart was not built for collapse. It was built for endurance. It was built for resilience. Not because you are so amazing, but because the one who made you has made a way for you. When sorrow drowns your soul, know this: sorrow is not the sovereign. Truth is, when rejection pierces, rejection cannot extract the truth. You are known. When pain floods, you still breathe by the breath of eternal life. So do not allow affection, disdain, criticism, circumstance, or fear to master you. The world will holler, stay upset, be offended, Be depressed, but refuse. Offer your heart as a living sacrifice. Present it as worship, though no one else may see it. Present your integrity in small moments, even when others choose compromise. Stand courageously when silence would suffice, because the weight of small moments shapes the steel of character. Do you think your story is too small, too broken? No. The whisper in your heart declaring shame is a lie. The shame belongs to the lie, not to you. You were bought at a price. You were chosen, you were commissioned, and there is work to be done. Work that no critic's voice, no failure, no wound can cancel out. Your heart must thunder with purpose. You walk under a banner not of your own making. You carry a light in dark places. You declare hope to the hopeless, and that will shake the gates of hell. Now, what is the posture you must assume? Radical denial of your own sufficiency and radical reliance on something unseen. If you live by your emotions, you crumble. If you live by sight, you fall. You must live by faith. Faith is not the absence of hardship. Faith is the assurance that hardship cannot smother truth. Faith is holding fast in the furnace. Faith is when the water rises above your head, but you refuse to sink. Because the anchor is holding, let me be direct. Stop chasing peace. People chase peace. I just want to be happy, but they run from truth. Tell them there is no peace apart from truth. When lies lie to your heart, you must crucify them with truth. When fear stalks your mind, tame it with truth. When guilt screams, silence it with truth. Speak it, confess it, wrestle with it. Let it saturate your soul until your heart no longer collapses in fear or shame. Truth makes you unstoppable, but here's the thing. You cannot hear truth when you nurse offense. Offense is a loud fire singeing your heart, distracting you from the battlefield. Offense says, they did me wrong, I will not forgive. But forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. It untethers your soul. It frees you from being manipulated by bitterness. It opens your eyes to mercy. When you forgive, you say to the lie, I will not be victimized. My soul will not shift with human sin. You stand resolute. You may ask, but what about consequences? What if I'm still hurt? Good. Consequences are real, but those don't inform your worth. They inform your path forward. They beckon prudence, not bitterness. They call for wisdom, not emotional captivity. Consequences without bitterness refine your spirit. They break the chains of naive pride. Let me say it plainly. Spiritual maturity is not measured by outward calm. It's measured by inward allegiance to truth. A mature soul does not collapse when afflicted. A mature soul chooses grace when wronged. A mature soul lifts eyes to the invisible throne when pressures mount. A mature soul says, let no storm define me. Let me define the storm by standing unmoved, rooted in purpose. What does it look like practically? It looks like waking at dawn to pray. That's truest weaponry. It looks like reading Scripture slowly, letting truth carve your bones. It looks like offering up your anxious thoughts as sacrifices of worship. It looks like humbly seeking counsel when pride tells you to isolate. It looks like confessing sin before it slithers into despair. It looks like celebrating others' successes when your name is still whispered. It looks like folding your hands in worship even when tears carve rivers down your cheeks. Hear me, this is not optional. To stand unmoved is not for super saints. It is commanded. You cannot pick and choose. You cannot welcome the blessing and reject the trial. You may not enjoy the pain, but you must refuse to be diminished by it. You must refuse to play under that annoyed rhythm. Instead, march to the cadence of faith. Carry the banner of perseverance. Sing the songs of hope. What do other platforms offer? The unlimited scroll, the instantaneous thrill, the fleeting affirmation. This is rubbish. Your soul never was meant for fluff. It was meant for weight. It was meant for lasting treasure. Do you think that delta of counterfeit content will satisfy? In the moment, maybe, for a moment. But tomorrow, when you wake, you will empty again. Only depth sustains. Only truth satisfies, and conviction acts. A people convinced of truth will bend under no trial. If you stumble, you rise. If you fail, you repent. If you fall, you confess, and you keep moving forward. For every step of obedience, you receive a deposit, a witness in your spirit that you are not alone, that you are upheld. And with each deposit, confidence grows, not confidence in self, but confidence in promise. So what stands between you and unshakable faith, distraction, disbelief, the old man that refuses to die? Strip it, recognize it, name it, and put it to death. The world says comfort. You say kingdom. The world says ease. You say endurance. The world says self. You say sacrifice. For the rest of your days, may that pivot be your anthem. Let no desire for ease sway your conviction. Let no scandal crush your resolve. Let no temptation quench your fire. Let no fear shackle your heart. Remember, building a life unmoved is not a Sunday morning task. It is a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute choice. A lifestyle of battle, a disciplined rejection of the feel, good gospel that kills strength. Feelings are fragile. They serve as signposts, not traffic cops. They guide, but they do not govern. Government belongs to truth. It belongs to courage. It belongs to the clenched fist of obedience. You might feel broken today, and you are, but you stand broken under truth, not crushed by it. You stand broken under truth, not camouflaged by comfort. Come to the table of endless mercy and say, refine me. Open your Bible and let words like fear not, do not be faint-hearted, I will never forsake you, run through your veins. Let them wage war on doubt. Let them extricate lies. Let them plant holy roots. You who are weary, the race is not over. The finish line awaits. Do not grow faint. Do not retreat. Put your face like flint. Let your heart swell with resolve. For the one who called you is faithful. He will keep, he will hold, he will finish the work he began, and the world will wonder at how a soul can be calm amid chaos. They will ask, what sustains you? Be ready to answer, it is not what I feel, it is what is true. So refuse collapse. Take your heart back. Take your eyes off the shifting horizon. Set them on unwavering purpose. Let the storms come. They cannot alter the backbone of a man or woman rooted in conviction. They may shake the house, but they cannot shake the foundation. Not when that foundation is Christ. Not when that foundation is truth. Not when that foundation is a surrendered, disciplined, resolute heart bent on standing unmoved. Stay. Don't let go. Don't back down. Don't you dare shrink, for the battle wages and the prize is to be fully known, fully faithful, entirely sold out. In the end, the only thing that will matter is this. Did you stand? You are not defined by your feelings or circumstances. Truth is the unshakable foundation that must govern your identity, worth, and direction. Never emotion, fear, or external approval. Trials and pain are not signs of defeat. They are refining tools. Stand firm, unmoved by suffering, because your purpose and strength are not found in comfort, but in enduring faith and obedience. Faith demands daily discipline, denial of self, and total reliance on what is unseen and eternal. Spiritual maturity is measured by your allegiance to truth, even when everything in life is unstable. Do not collapse, endure, forgive, resist bitterness. You are called to live anchored battle, ready and unshaken, not because life is easy, but because truth sustains, finishes, and wins. You have been taught over and over again by the world, and often by those closest to you, that your feelings are the most trustworthy indicators of reality, that if you feel afraid, you must be in danger. If you feel unloved, you must be unlovable. If you feel hopeless, then surely there is no hope. But listen to me. Your emotions may scream with intensity, but they do not carry the authority to define truth. They may rise and fall like the tides, but they do not govern reality. Feelings are not final. They are not sovereign. They are not God. The reason so many people live in bondage is not because truth is absent, but because emotion has been exalted. The human heart has been deceived into believing that what is felt most strongly must be true. This is not just a mistake. It is spiritual slavery. It is the reason many walk around with anxiety that chokes their peace, bitterness that hardens their hearts, and shame that keeps them hiding in silence. But feelings were never designed to lead you. They were designed to follow. Truth must lead. Truth must command. Truth must stand on the throne of your heart while emotions serve at its feet. You may feel like you've failed too much to be restored, like your past disqualifies you from hope. But truth says there is redemption, full and final, available even now. You may feel forgotten, invisible, irrelevant, but truth says you are seen, chosen, and dearly loved. You may feel overwhelmed by guilt and regret, convinced you will never change. But truth says mercy is new every morning, and power is made perfect in weakness. So which voice will you believe, the fleeting whisper of emotion or the everlasting word of truth? There must come a moment, perhaps even now, when you violently reject the tyranny of your emotions. Not because emotions are evil, but because they are unfit to rule. A ship tossed by waves cannot navigate itself. It needs an anchor, a compass, a fixed point. So does the soul. Truth is that fixed point. It does not bend with culture. It does not sway with mood. It does not shift with popular opinion. It stands, it endures. It commands the storm to be still, and it speaks with clarity when everything else is confusing. If you are angry, do not assume your anger is righteous. Let truth examine it. If you are anxious, do not assume something is wrong. Let truth address it. If you are depressed, do not accept despair as your identity. Let truth confront it. Too many build entire belief systems around their emotional experiences and never stop to ask if those beliefs are actually true. You must be different. You must love the truth enough to allow it to offend you, to confront you, to correct you. And what is that truth? It is that your worth is not determined by your success. Your identity is not validated by others' opinions. Your future is not secured by your plans. Your peace is not preserved by your own strength. Truth says there is a foundation stronger than your best days and deeper than your darkest nights. It says you are not your sin, you are not your fear, you are not your worst moment, you are not what happened to you. You are not what others said about you. You are who you were created to be, someone with eternal value, someone made for truth. If you continue to bow to how you feel, you will live your entire life in reaction rather than in conviction. You will be at the mercy of moods, circumstances, and people's words. That is not freedom. That is emotional slavery. But truth is a sword. It cuts through confusion. It silences the noise. It reminds you who you are, and more importantly, who God is. And when you see Him rightly, you begin to see yourself rightly. You begin to see that your emotions, while real, are not always right. Think about how quickly feelings change. A kind word can lift your spirit. A single criticism can undo your joy. A bad night's sleep can turn a confident person into a discouraged one. But truth does not change with the weather. Truth is not threatened by your bad day. Truth remains whether you believe it or not. And that's the power of anchoring your life in it. You become immovable not because you don't feel, but because you don't follow those feelings into despair. You let them rise, and then you bring them before truth. You let truth test them, weigh them, and speak to them. Let me tell you something that may offend your comfort, but rescue your soul. Your emotions are not trustworthy guides. They are often shaped more by wounds than wisdom, more by history than by holiness. You may feel unloved because you were once abandoned. You may feel rejected because others misunderstood you. But these feelings do not define reality. They reflect experience, but not identity. Truth must interpret experience, not the other way around. Because if your wounds interpret truth, you will always be limping. But if truth interprets your wounds, you will walk healed. Stop asking your emotions to lead your decisions. Stop looking to your mood to determine your mission. Stop consulting your fears to confirm your calling. Stand up. Let truth be your foundation, even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when every feeling in your body is screaming otherwise. Courage is not the absence of emotion. It is the refusal to be ruled by it. Strength is not found in never breaking. It is found in returning to the truth every time you do. This world exalts self-expression above self-discipline. It celebrates those who speak their truth rather than seek the truth. But what does that produce? A culture of instability, a generation that cannot endure adversity, a society that is governed by offense rather than by principle. You are not called to live like that. You are called to stand even when you feel weak, to love even when you feel bitter, to obey even when you feel numb. That's what truth does. It gives you the ability to act rightly even when you feel wrongly. The enemy loves to use emotions to distort reality. He does not come shouting obvious lies. He comes whispering subtle distortions. You're not enough. You've blown it too many times. No one really cares. Things will never change. These lies often sound like your own thoughts, your own feelings. But they are chains, and truth breaks chains, but it does not break them with comfort. It breaks them with confrontation. It does not coddle lies, it crucifies them. Sometimes truth will feel like a sword through your pride. It will confront what you have justified for years. It will reveal that what you called being real was actually being ruled by emotion. It will show you that what you called boundaries was actually fear in disguise. But it is that confrontation that leads to freedom, because truth wounds in order to heal. It exposes in order to redeem. It shakes your world in order to build a better one. The reason you must anchor yourself in truth is because emotions will often lead you away from what is right. Think about the people you've walked away from because of hurt you never processed. Think about the opportunities you missed because of fear you never challenged. Think about the peace you forfeited because of guilt you never gave to God. Truth would have led you differently. Truth would have said, don't run, forgive, try again, trust. But emotion won, and you've carried that weight ever since. It's time to let truth win. It's time to stop waiting until you feel strong to take action. Truth says you are strong in your weakness. Truth says grace is enough right now. Truth says peace is possible, not because your life is easy, but because your heart is anchored. So stop waiting for your emotions to give you permission to move forward. They never will. They want comfort. Truth wants growth. Comfort protects. Truth transforms. Choose truth. You will be tempted to trust your emotions when you are tired. You will be tempted to isolate when you are discouraged. You will be tempted to compromise when you are lonely, but truth does not change just because your energy does. Truth does not retreat just because you are weary. Truth is still truth when you're angry. Still truth when you're confused. Still truth when you're numb. So train yourself now, while you have breath in your lungs, to default to truth, to run to it, to rest in it, to fight with it. There is a kind of strength that cannot be faked. It's not loud. It's not showy. It's not full of noise. It is a quiet, defiant resolve to live by truth, no matter what your emotions say. That kind of strength changes families. It alters generations. It silences lies. It testifies to the world that there is something higher than self, deeper than pain, stronger than fear, and you were made for that kind of strength. You were made to be someone who does not flinch when the winds blow, someone who does not cave to internal chaos, someone who carries peace even when life is storming all around them. But that cannot happen if you let emotions dictate your decisions. You must come to a place where you say, I feel afraid, but I will act in faith. I feel angry, but I will speak with grace. I feel discouraged, but I will press forward anyway. That's not hypocrisy, that's holiness. Do not let your feelings convince you that truth is distant. Truth is closer than your next breath. Truth has already spoken. It has already declared your worth. It has already defeated your fear. It has already named you, called you, equipped you, and sent you. So the next time your emotions roar and threaten to pull you under, respond with the voice of truth. Not your suffering is not a sign that you've been forgotten. It is not evidence that your life is off course. It is not proof that you are weak or unworthy or broken beyond use. Suffering is the furnace in which resilience is formed, the battlefield where faith is tested, the place where comfort is stripped away so that character can stand unassisted by ease. It is not a curse to endure suffering. It is a call to rise within it, to be shaped in its fire, and to become unshakable, not in spite of suffering, but through it. There is something dangerous about comfort. Comfort can sedate. Comfort can deceive. Comfort can convince a person that strength is unnecessary, that sacrifice is optional, that faith is a pleasant ornament rather than a vital necessity. But suffering exposes the truth. It lays bare the soul. It strips pretense and demands clarity. In suffering, we come face with our weakness, and only then are we positioned to learn real strength. Resilience is not born in calm waters. It is born in crashing waves. There will be moments when you are pushed to the end of yourself, when your body is exhausted, your heart is broken, your mind is spinning, and in those moments a voice will tempt you to believe the lie that it's over, that you've been defeated, that there's no point in continuing. But the truth is that this very moment, the one where everything feels lost, is often the place where endurance begins. Not when the pain ends, but when you choose to stand in the middle of it. That's where resilience is born. Resilience does not mean pretending the suffering isn't real. It doesn't mean putting on a fake smile and pretending everything is okay. It means acknowledging the pain, staring it in the face, and refusing to let it have the final word. It is the act of standing with tears in your eyes and saying, I'm not done. I'm not giving up. I will not bow to this. It is a strength that cannot be explained by logic because it's not of this world. It comes from deep within, from a place touched by something eternal. You will be tempted to run from the pain. That is the natural response. No one wants to suffer. No one wants to feel loss or betrayal or failure. But running never builds resilience. Running builds avoidance. And avoidance always weakens you. The only way to build the kind of strength that endures is to walk through the fire, not around it. There is no shortcut. There is no bypass. You must go through. But the promise is not that you will go through it alone. The promise is that there is a sustaining power available to you in the midst of the fire. And if you hold on to it, you will emerge not weaker but stronger. This strength does not scream. It does not boast. It does not demand attention. It is quiet. It is rooted. It is the kind of strength that is content to be unseen because it knows that true endurance is not for applause but for integrity. Resilience is not showy. It is faithful. It is not explosive. It is consistent. It is the decision to wake up again and do what is right, even when you feel nothing. It is the choice to love again after heartbreak, to hope again after disappointment, to believe again after crushing doubt. And this resilience does not come from you alone. If it did, you would break, because no one is naturally strong enough to withstand the waves of this life. You must be sustained by something outside yourself, something greater than pain, deeper than fear, more permanent than loss. That strength is not just discipline, it is divine. You cannot manufacture it, you must receive it, and you receive it not in moments of pride, but in moments of surrender when you say, I have nothing left, but I am still here. Resilience through suffering does not mean you do not cry. It means you cry, but you keep walking. It does not mean you never doubt. It means you bring your doubt into the light instead of hiding in the dark. It does not mean you never feel weak. It means you recognize that your weakness is where strength is built, because the human soul was not designed to be strong in itself. It was designed to be sustained by truth, and when truth holds you, no pain can destroy you. Look at history. The strongest people were never the most privileged or protected. They were those who suffered and still stood. They were those who lost everything and still loved. They were those who were misunderstood, misjudged, misrepresented, and still held to their convictions. Their strength did not come from ease, it came from endurance, it came from suffering, and so will yours. If you allow pain to deepen you rather than destroy you, you will become something the world cannot explain. Pain has a way of simplifying life. When everything is stripped away, you begin to see what really matters. You begin to see how much time you've wasted trying to control what you never could, trying to avoid what you should have faced, trying to please people who were never meant to be your judges. Suffering brings you back to the core of things. It reminds you that you are not invincible and you were never meant to be. It reminds you that the goal is not survival. It is transformation, and transformation hurts. The breaking of pride hurts. The confrontation of fear hurts. The letting go of idols hurts. But the fruit of that pain is something no comfort can produce. It is depth. It is perspective. It is a wisdom that cannot be taught in books or sermons. It must be lived. It must be carved into your bones by the hand of hardship. And when you've walked through it, truly walked through it, you emerge with something the world cannot give and cannot take. Unshakable endurance. That endurance will not always be loud. Sometimes it will look like a whisper. Sometimes it will look like silence. Sometimes it will look like stillness when everything in you wants to run. But make no mistake, it is strength. It is stronger than performance, stronger than intellect, stronger than status. It is the quiet resolve of a soul that has been pressed but not crushed, struck down but not destroyed, grieved but not broken. And that kind of soul changes the world. There will be days when you feel like you've taken 5 steps backward for every 1 step forward. That does not mean you failed. That means you are human. The mark of resilience is not perfection. It is persistence. It is the choice to begin again, even when you thought you were done. It is the refusal to let the darkness dictate your future. You may crawl some days. You may stumble, but as long as you do not stop, you are growing stronger. Suffering also has a way of revealing what you really believe. When everything is going well, it's easy to say the right things, easy to quote the right words, easy to carry the banner of faith. But when things fall apart, when you are alone and disappointed and broken, that's when you find out what you've actually built your life on. If you've built it on feelings, you will fall. If you've built it on comfort, you will collapse. But if you've built it on truth, you may shake, but you will not break. So when suffering comes, as it surely will, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is being formed in me? Don't retreat into bitterness or self-pity. Lean forward into growth. This pain is not meaningless. This season is not wasted. Something is being forged in the fire. Something is being refined. And when it is done, you will not be the same. You will be stronger. You will be deeper, you will be more alive than you ever were in ease. It is easy to speak about strength. It is something else entirely to live it. Real strength is forged in silence, when no one is watching, when the applause has stopped and the loneliness sets in. That's when resilience shows up. It does not need an audience. It does not need validation. It simply keeps going. That is the kind of person you must become, not because life is hard, but because purpose is great. You are not here to be entertained. You are here to be refined, to be tested, to be made ready. And readiness does not come through ease. It comes through pressure. It comes through pain, but the pain will not last forever. Suffering will not be the end of your story. It is only a chapter, and it is a chapter that must be written, not skipped. For in the writing, your character is shaped. In the writing, your convictions are strengthened. In the writing, your voice becomes clearer, and when you speak again, when you rise from the ashes, you will speak not from theory, but from experience, and that kind of voice carries weight. That kind of life cannot be dismissed. That kind of strength cannot be ignored, because it speaks of truth that has been proven, not just believed. It speaks of love that has endured, not just been felt. It speaks of hope that has survived the fire. And that is what the world is longing for, not just answers, but witnesses, not just theories, but living proof that suffering does not destroy those who are grounded in something greater. So you do not need to fear the suffering. You do not need to hide from the pain. You are not the only one walking through it. You are not the first, and you will not be the last, but you can be the one who walks through it differently, not bitter, not broken, but resilient, faithful, true. And when you do, you will become a voice of hope to those still in the fire. You will become a signpost that says, "This pain is not the end. Keep going." Victory is not always found in the moment when the crowd is cheering. It is not always marked by banners waving or trumpets sounding. Real victory is forged in the silence of unseen faithfulness, in the monotony of daily obedience, in the hidden decisions no one else applauds or even notices. It is shaped not by the ease of circumstances, but by the refusal to quit when everything around you says it's time to let go. Perseverance is the slow, steady walk of the one who has made up their mind that the end will be worth every mile, every wound, every tear. It is not those who begin strong who are victorious. It is those who finish faithfully. The world is filled with people who sprinted at the start and collapsed halfway, not because they lacked talent, not because they didn't dream big enough, but because they never learned how to endure when the flame of emotion died out and the reality of hardship settled in. The strong are not those who shine brightest for a moment. They are those who burn with consistency over a lifetime. Perseverance is the fire that never goes out, the engine that keeps running long after others have sat down. The journey is long, and it is filled with valleys, delays, and disappointments. There will be times when you wonder if anything is happening at all. When progress is slow and fruit is invisible, you may be tempted to believe that your work is wasted. But perseverance refuses to bow to that lie. Perseverance says that what is sown in tears will one day reap a harvest, that what is buried now will one day break through the soil. You may not see the growth yet, but the roots are deepening. You may not feel the breakthrough, but something is shifting in the unseen. Victory comes to those who understand the power of one more step. Just one more. When the strength to run is gone, walk. When walking feels too much, crawl, but move forward, always forward. That steady, stubborn refusal to retreat is the heartbeat of perseverance. It does not require a burst of superhuman effort. It simply asks that you keep going, that you wake up again, stand up again, pray again, believe again, even when you feel nothing, even when you're tired, even when you've failed before, because every small act of perseverance is a blow against despair, a declaration that this story will not end in defeat, Perseverance isn't blind optimism. It sees the pain, it feels the weight, it knows the risk, but it chooses to move forward anyway. It does not wait for the storm to pass before walking. It walks through the storm, one trembling step at a time. Perseverance does not ignore the scars. It carries them like trophies of battles fought and survived. Every scar is proof that the pain was real, but the failure was not final. Every wound speaks not of defeat, but of the war that didn't kill you. And those who keep walking, scarred but steady, are the ones who find victory in the end. And what is that victory? It is not just the accomplishment of a goal. It is the transformation of the soul. It is becoming the kind of person who is faithful regardless of results. The kind of person who lives with conviction even when the reward is delayed. Victory is not just getting what you want, it is becoming who you are meant to be, and that kind of becoming only happens through perseverance. No shortcuts, no fast tracks, just faithful daily steps forward. There is a temptation to quit when you are misunderstood, when your motives are questioned, when your words are twisted, when your intentions are doubted. But perseverance does not seek approval from man. It does not bend under criticism or grow proud from praise. It stays rooted in purpose, in mission, in truth. Victory is not won in the courtroom of public opinion, but in the quiet courtroom of the soul, where you decide to continue walking in integrity even when no one applauds. Some battles you fight will last longer than you ever imagined. Some prayers will take years before they are answered. Some promises will feel like they're fading into the distance. And everything in you will be tempted to say, "What's the point?" But that question has already been answered. The point is obedience. The point is faithfulness. The point is refusing to measure success by ease or speed, but by endurance. And when you endure, you are already victorious, not because you see the result, but because you have not surrendered. Victory is not reserved for the strongest. It is granted to the most enduring, to those who may fall but rise again, to those who doubt but don't give in to disbelief, to those who are weary but do not stop. Your strength will not always feel supernatural. Sometimes it will feel like barely hanging on, but even that is enough, because perseverance is not about how loud your faith is. It's about how long it lasts. And lasting faith is the kind that carries you through deserts, storms, and dry places until the rain finally comes. There are no wasted seasons in the life of one who perseveres. Even the times that feel like failure are soil for future fruit. The lessons you learn in the silence, the character that is formed in the fire, the endurance that is shaped in the struggle, none of it is in vain. Victory is being built day by day, not in explosive moments of brilliance, but in slow, consistent grind of the one who refuses to give up. So when you feel like quitting, remember this: every step forward is a declaration of war against the darkness. Every step is sacred. Sometimes you will walk alone. Those who started with you may fall away. Those who promised to be there may disappear, but perseverance is never dependent on company. The road is narrow for a reason. You may walk it with few, or even none, but you will never walk it in vain. Solitude is not the absence of purpose. Often, it is the place where purpose is clarified. It is where motives are purified, where distractions are removed, where your eyes are fixed not on applause, but on the finish line. The finish line is not for the fast, it is for the faithful, and faithfulness is forged in trial. Perseverance sees the trial and says, "This will not stop me." It looks at the mountain and says, "I will climb it." It faces the rejection and says, "I am still chosen." It feels the pain and says, "This will not define me." That kind of resolve cannot be given by emotion. It must be chosen, forged, tested, and chosen again. And that choice, made day after day, is where true victory lies. You may be misunderstood, you may be maligned, you may be forgotten by others, but you are not forgotten by the one who sees, and he does not reward the impressive, he rewards the faithful, the ones who labor in secret, the ones who love without applause, the ones who serve without recognition, the ones who pray when no one hears, the ones who believe when nothing around them changes. These are the victorious. These are the unshakable. These are the ones who will cross the finish line with scars and stories and the kind of strength the world can't replicate. There is something fierce about the quiet soul who has decided not to turn back. There is something unshakable about the one who has already decided, no matter what comes, I will not give up. I may be wounded, I may be tired, but I will not stop. That is the language of victory. That is the declaration of perseverance. That is what changes legacies, restores families, and sets captives free. Because perseverance is contagious. When one person refuses to quit, others find the courage to continue. Your children need to see you persevere. Your friends need to see you stand. The people you influence need to see that faithfulness is possible, that endurance is real, that quitting is not the only option. Your life is a testimony, not just in what you say, but in how you live, every day that you choose to keep going. You are preaching. Every time you stay the course, you are declaring that there is a strength greater than circumstances, a joy deeper than sorrow, a hope that doesn't fade with time. Victory is not one moment of success. It is 1,000 moments of perseverance. It is rising after every fall. It is believing after every disappointment. It is continuing after every closed door. It is trusting when you have no proof, loving when you have no guarantee, and serving when you have no reward. That is perseverance. That is victory. And that is the life that leaves a mark, not because it was easy, because it was faithful. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the most articulate. You don't need to be the most connected or admired or gifted. You just need to be the most faithful. You just need to keep going. You just need to refuse to stop. And if you do that, if you commit to the long road, the narrow path, the steady walk, you will arrive. You will endure. And in the end, you will know the kind of victory that can never be taken from you.